Vitamin B6 plays a deeply central role in the synthesis of key neurotransmitters, serotonin, dopamine, gamma-aminobutyric acid, GABA, and melatonin, all of which profoundly affect mood, motivation, focus, sleep, and stress regulation. As the active coenzyme pyridoxal 5-phosphate (PLP), B6 facilitates critical chemical reactions that turn amino acids into neuroactive compounds. Despite this, it's rarely acknowledged in psychiatric or neurological care unless there's a severe deficiency, which means millions may be operating with suboptimal B6 status without realizing it. Serotonin synthesis, for example, begins with tryptophan, which requires B6 to be converted into 5-hydroxytryptophan, 5-HTP, and ultimately into serotonin. This neurotransmitter regulates mood, appetite, sleep, and even pain perception. A low B6 level can create a bottleneck in this process, leaving tryptophan underutilized and serotonin deficient. This may explain why some individuals with adequate dietary protein and even sufficient tryptophan still suffer from symptoms like depression or insomnia. Their bodies simply can't complete the conversion efficiently without enough PLP. Similarly, dopamine and norepinephrine, which are crucial for attention, drive, and motivation, depend on B6 for their synthesis from the amino acid tyrosine. PLP is required in the decarboxylation step that transforms L-dopa into dopamine. If this step is slowed due to B6 inadequacy, individuals may experience symptoms like brain fog, low motivation, and even features resembling attention disorders or anhedonia. Ironically, the conventional response to such symptoms often involves prescription stimulants or antidepressants, which can manage downstream effects without addressing the upstream nutrient deficiencies that may be contributing to neurotransmitter imbalance. GABA, the brain's primary calming neurotransmitter, also relies heavily on B6. It is synthesized from glutamate through the action of glutamate decarboxylase, which requires PLP to function. Without enough B6, the excitatory glutamate remains elevated, while inhibitory GABA remains low, potentially increasing susceptibility to anxiety, restlessness, and overstimulation. This imbalance may manifest as chronic stress, irritability, and sleep disturbances, conditions that are widespread in modern society and often treated with benzodiazepines or sleep aids. Yet, low-grade B6 insufficiency may be a silent contributor that never gets measured or discussed. Melatonin production, too, involves B6. After serotonin is produced, another B6-dependent enzyme helps convert it into melatonin, the hormone that governs circadian rhythms and sleep initiation. Inadequate B6 could therefore contribute to insomnia, delayed sleep onset, or non-restorative sleep, not because of a problem with the brain's pineal gland or the serotonin pathway per se, but simply due to a bottleneck in melatonin synthesis caused by insufficient coenzymatic support. What makes this especially relevant is that many modern lifestyle factors either increase B6 requirements or actively deplete it. Chronic stress, alcohol use, high-protein diets, inflammation, and certain medications, like oral contraceptives, isoniazid, and hydralazine, all increase B6 turnover or impair absorption. Yet, even with growing awareness of mental health and sleep issues, B6 rarely makes it into mainstream conversations about brain wellness. This disconnect is partly cultural, vitamins aren't seen as potent interventions, and partly clinical because lab testing for B6 status is not routine, and mild deficiencies are hard to detect unless one is specifically looking for functional markers like elevated homocysteine or urinary xanthorrhenic acid. A particularly telling point is that several mental health disorders, ranging from depression and anxiety to ADHD, and even certain forms of epilepsy, show biochemical signs of impaired neurotransmitter metabolism that could be related to inadequate B6. While B6 is not a cure-all, it is certainly foundational. Yet it's often dismissed as just a vitamin, when in fact it is a molecular linchpin in emotional regulation and cognitive function. Clinical trials have shown that B6 supplementation, often alongside magnesium or other B vitamins, can reduce symptoms of premenstrual syndrome, PMS, anxiety, and mood swings, especially in individuals with previously low or borderline B6 levels. However, because these effects are often gradual and vary based on the individual's baseline status, they don't create the kind of dramatic results that drive headlines. In sum, the role of B6 in neurotransmitter synthesis isn't just biochemically interesting, it has real-world implications for how we think, feel, and sleep. The fact that it can be depleted subtly, without overt deficiency symptoms until much later, makes it a stealth factor in mental health. In a healthcare environment increasingly focused on symptom suppression and fast-acting solutions, the foundational role of micronutrients like B6 deserves renewed attention. While it won't replace therapy or medication where needed, ensuring optimal B6 levels may make both more effective, helping to restore the biochemical balance that the brain depends on for resilience and clarity.